Hello, my name's Alec, and welcome to yet another episode of Burning Questions. And in this special episode, we're going to be focusing on marketing and Quelfire's role in that area. So thankfully, I'm not on this episode on my own. I've been joined by a special guest. So because you're normally behind the camera, if you can just obviously say your name, who you are, and your role, just to give them a brief introduction.
So I'm Hayley, the marketing manager here at Quelfire. I've been with the company for just over a year. My typical day, I suppose, I very much lead the kind of strategy and direction of the marketing. From video to email marketing, content marketing, website UX, events. There's a whole lot of stuff underneath the marketing umbrella.
Yeah.
But obviously everything just kind of come together to play a really important part in the growth of Quelfire. So a little bit about how I got here, I suppose. Started off about 10 years ago as an apprentice. Funnily enough, our neighbours that are over the road is where I actually started off in kind of supply chain, machinery, manufacture. That was about 10 years ago. After that, after I got my apprenticeship, I actually did 2 apprenticeships, business admin and marketing. And then I just kind of moved through various B2C and B2B industries. The last industry I was in was actually transport, which had a e-commerce division, which was really interesting actually, because you've kind of got the traditional haulage kind of side of things, but then you've also then got the fast-paced, forward, online kind of base. So being able to get experience across both of those has been really beneficial, I feel, in my role. And obviously now moving to construction is a completely different beast. There's a lot to learn, especially in the fire safety area, because it is life safety. So yeah, it's been a steep learning curve, but it's been a very enjoyable learning curve, I would say.
Yeah, no, and to be fair, you've picked it up very quickly and stuff. So no, it's been really good. Um, so I suppose obviously for those out there that probably have been following Quelfire's journey, they've seen that marketing has been quite a big aspect for us. Definitely for the years that I've been here, but obviously in the last year or so, you and Rebecca, who's hidden behind the camera still, I've started to really make it grow. So I suppose one of the things that we should look at first is, why do you think, especially for Quelfire, but why for our customers and audience, why is marketing to us such a key element to like fire safety and fire stopping, to be honest with you?
Yeah, good question. I think marketing is really important for any business, not just those in construction or fire safety. Marketing is your brand, it's your reputation, it's how you're seen online, and ultimately it helps customers to find you and find the right products at the right time. For Quelfire, that kind of translates in the video content that we do, like the series, like our how-to videos, and that kind of thing. It just kind of lifts the veil.
So Haley, Quelfire have obviously quite a good direction of marketing it, and the aspect of how we do it, etc. But one of the things I'm quite keen to understand is, what sort of is the wider picture or the landscape of the rest of the construction industry when it comes to marketing?
Is actually really interesting, and SLG agency actually do a really good report on kind of what marketing looks like for companies within construction. It's called Horizon, and they basically survey multiple marketing titles within construction, building material, etc. It's just a really in-depth report. So if there are any companies that are looking to kind of understand the wider landscape of how marketing is perceived to be in the next year or so, definitely check out that report from SLG. It's very in depth. But I mean, as a whole, obviously before I came to Quelfire, I did quite a bit of research, into the industry, just to kind of see what the approach was to marketing, and I was actually quite shocked to see that it is so product led. People very much focus on, oh, we've got this product's just come out, buy it now kind of thing. Whereas I feel like the message should be more around the why and the how and that kind of thing, because ultimately, yes, it's okay getting a sale, but for me, that kind of sales cycle begins once that customer has bought. Because if you think about it, I mean, it starts way before that, obviously, in construction, where you've got main contractors and architects designing your products into buildings. But for me, a lot of the marketing should focus on that afterwards. Installers that are installing the products, how can you make their life easier?
It's not about, look at this shiny, shiny product. Ooh, look, look, look. It's about the why, the what's, how, for me, especially with the sort of fundamental thing I've said with the technical team is we've got to look at the bigger picture, and it's not about small wins. I would rather do things correct, and we're very openly will say no, our product's not suitable for that. It's not a no forever. If it's an application we think that needs to be tested, we go and test it. But you know going back to the marketing, that's why we make sure things are presented in a way that it's clear.
Yeah,
We don't,
exactly.
I say it on a lot of my things, is there is sometimes elephants in the room, and we don't hide that there's an elephant in
No,
the room. We go, look at the elephant.
here it
It's
is.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Put an elephant here, Rebecca.
I think having that integrity, that honesty, and that transparency is so important because, and I hate to go back on things like this, but like Grenfell.
Yep.
And obviously, a lot of, it was indicated in the inquiry that there were quite a lot of failures when it came to marketing. Earlier this year, there was a documentary on Netflix called Grenfell Uncovered, and very emotional. I feel, we sat as a team and watched it together in our boardroom, actually. But what one of the quotes that really stood out to me from that documentary was by Richard Millett, who was the lead counsel, and he said, "I think the inquiry revealed that public safety was not as interesting as the individual pursuit of private profit." And I think that is a really powerful statement, because again, all of the findings, just to quote some, those responsible were aware that the product they were promoting was unsafe in certain applications, but failed to correct misleading impressions given to the market. They manipulated the test system and presented the result as evidence of compliance when they knew that was not the case. These findings are tragic. And I think that quote from Richard Millett really does kind of describe everything that Quelfire stands against. So for me, as a professional, and obviously the wider marketing team, to have a team that is so morally in line with the company's values,
Yep.
that is just everything to marketing, because then it means for me that I know that whatever product and whatever system that comes about that we're pushing is safe.
Yeah, no. And actually, I would say that obviously people could say I'm biased because I work for Quelfire, but I find that our marketing is very it's more about promoting a message sometimes than necessarily just a product or trying to sell something like that. We're very passionate here. Education is obviously a big forefront of us. So I've found that a lot of our marketing really isn't about selling. It's not like buy one get one free or anything like that. It's about how to safely use the products, how we can support you. And one of those big, I suppose, we can start going into what areas marketing have really impacted Quelfire. But I suppose by the time this comes out, it'll be quite live now. Hopefully, for a few months. You've helped develop our new website, so I suppose that's where I want to kind of start before we talk about the nitty gritty. So, when you've come in, you obviously looked at how to improve our areas, and one of those being the website. So, I suppose how did you tackle that?
Yeah, I mean, my background, I've like I said before, I've been through B2B, B2C businesses, but part of my time through COVID, I did quite a bit of like freelance work. And as part of that freelance work, I've always, been drawn to design, whether that's graphic design, whether that's user experience. I've been quite in marketing. I find behavioral psychology really interesting. So knowing how people use things, and especially with a website, I feel like anything digital is the most trackable, kind of form in marketing.
Yep.
So websites have always naturally fascinated me, and during that freelance time, I did design a few websites for clients. When I first started at Quelfire, it was quite apparent that the website, was a little bit dated. We'd had feedback from customers to say, or I'm struggling to find this, or it just looks a little bit outdated, and some of the journeys through to find the information that they needed wasn't quite up to scratch. So in February this year, we sent out a survey to a lot of our customers, just to get some feedback on how they generally use that website. And yeah, we got quite a few responses actually, which really helped us to nail down, right, okay, what is it that we need to change about the website? Can we stay on this platform, or should we completely redesign it and start again? Um, so yeah, we basically went down the route of, okay, the website that we've got now has served its purpose. But yeah, it's very clear that we need to make some updates and upgrades. So we reached out to a contact that a previous colleague of mine actually knew and put me in contact with. So I was actually speaking with him before I even started at Quelfire. So
Sowing the seeds ready.
yeah, exactly. Just to, set those foundations, set things in, motion. And yeah, that's where it started really. And then yeah, we worked together to redesign some of the main elements of the website, functionality. With the website, there's quite a bit of functionality. So in terms of the detail downloads and
Yep.
stuff like that, that's quite custom, I would say. There's no real kind of, plug-in or add-on that you can just bolt onto the website. It has to be coded and created. So yeah, it's been a bit of a journey. It's taken a fair few months of testing, revision, going back and changing things. But no, it's well worth it, because I mean the feedback has been great from what we've seen so far, and I think it's really streamlined people's journeys.
But the way we present stuff and documentation and stuff, I think it's been really good. And I think for 2026, people are going to see a massive, it's not, done that foundation level, like you said, but I think it's going to be big steps when it comes to marketing, which I
Yeah.
think's been excellent. And I suppose again for those out there, because I do think the marketing team is a bit of like our unsung heroes, because you are normally behind the camera. But what other areas that people might not know, um, that you and your team, you and Rebecca and that deal with? What sort of other bits? There's certain sections of the website. There's articles, even just, yeah. I mean, obviously the YouTube channel, which this episode's on, etc. So, what bits are you sort of focusing for Quelfire at the moment?
Oh, lots. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. I mean, a typical day for us in the marketing team, no 2 days the same. We have got a lot of different channels. Our main kind of social channel is LinkedIn.
Yeah,
So we post on there every single day. YouTube as well. That is one of our primary platforms too. So video content, email marketing, content marketing, website UX, events. Quite a bit of our kind of working day is focused around that collaboration between the different teams. So, like
yeah,
yourself,
yeah.
each week, we get feedback from the team, whether it's from technical, whether it's from sales. There's basically every single person of the Quellfire team is an extension of marketing, I believe. So quite a lot of our day is getting those ideas in, because obviously we don't have kind of day-to-day contact with those customers that are speaking to technical. So to get the perspective of the customer, that's so important to our content, because that really guides us. Ultimately, the content that we publish and push isn't, about the product. It's how can we help the customer? That's our main focus. It's not, okay, this video must result in, however many sales or however many leads. It's purely how can we help the customer and make their life easier.
Yeah, no, I think that's good, because again, I think it might have been Craig who said it actually when we talked about the new brand guidelines stuff, is we really want to empower our customers, give them,
Absolutely.
and I think the marketing's been sided that. But going back to what you said, the collaboration, I think is again what puts our teams differently from others is the fact that all departments talk to each other. There isn't sort of it's used a lot in construction, but different silos where marketing start going off on their own tangent, and it's not necessarily reflected of that the rest of the team, the sales and technical, might not talk to each other. But yeah, we're all very, we do butt heads sometimes, obviously, but that's how a normal
Natural.
relationship would work as such. But yeah, no, I've actually, and your last point there about where we're not looking at sort of the figures or the sales, the
Yes.
leads. We've had quite a dedicated core mission of education. I like that Quelfire supported that and see the benefits of marketing. But I think we need the fresher ideas, the different perspectives. We need to start empowering those younger minds and voices, because they are, going to be taking on the weight of this on their shoulders moving forward. So I'm glad that we have that content and stuff like that. And I think we get it from the feedback from our customers. It speaks volumes. The fact that you had so many people respond to the survey, I thought was a good telling that they're interested in our messaging, our information and stuff like that. And yeah, I hope people are enjoying the new website, because we do. I know you put a lot of work and effort into it and stuff like that. So obviously there's a lot of stuff on there. Obviously Rebecca can't speak for herself because she sat behind the camera, but the articles I think have been real good. I know we do a lot of publication in sort of magazines again,
Yeah.
trying to get that messaging out. And what I do like as well, and this kind of moves quite nicely into our campaign sort of thing that we did as well, is going back to what you said earlier, is we never try and make it a salesy thing like pitch, because we don't want people to lose the message or it get diluted. We're very firm of fire safety and making buildings and safer and people's lives and stuff like that. So yeah, going with the campaign, I suppose, I don't know if anyone's not aware of it. Can you just give an overview of what it means first, and then we can sort of dive into that, if that's okay?
Yeah, of course. So the campaign was launched in February last year, so February 2024. And it's called Because It's Your Job to Know. Now, that campaign was kind of designed to be a little bit provocative in that sense, where, we're getting industry professionals to kind of question themselves and say, what is it my job to know? So that campaign was primarily around getting the message out about early engagement. So how important it is to engage early with the fire stopper, um, you know, basically designing then building rather than design and build. Just because I mean, obviously in your day to day, you come across it so many times where industry professionals come to us very last minute and
Yeah.
say, I've got this pipe going through a wall and I need to fire stop it. And it's like, well, there's not actually a
Yeah.
tested solution for that, and it gets really dicey, I'd say, at times, because it's like, we're then in a position where we're like, well, sorry, but in order to install a tested solution, that entire wall's going to have to be, to change. And you know so yeah, it is just about hitting home that, fire stopping should be a fundamental part of designing
Yeah.
a building. Because ultimately, I mean, two of the biggest risks when building a building is structural, isn't it? But then it's also fire. That they are two of the biggest risks when building a building. So why shouldn't fire stopping be, number one on your list of
Yeah.
things
I
when
mean, to me, it
when
makes common
designing?
sense, but it doesn't to others for some reason.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, I mean, as a whole, that whole campaign is just designed to kind of build awareness. It's not okay to leave fire stopping too late, because there are going to be increased costs. There's going to be delays. So for us, it's about working with main contractors and architects to really bring fire stopping to the forefront
yeah, no,
where it belongs.
it's been really good. And obviously, I know hopefully there'll be a link in the description, and there's stuff on our website about it as well. But I think it's tied in very nicely, because obviously this episode is due to come out sort of mid-season of this iteration of Burning Questions. And hopefully everyone's already seen, we've had Shakespeare on talking about the principal designer, we've
Yeah.
had fire engineers on, etc. So again, it's that, what's their job to know, their role. And I think that's why it's tied in very nicely. One of the big key takeaways I took from the campaign is, because of, again, we're very focused on getting outside voices. So it's not just Quelfire saying, oh, there's this problem, you can buy these products or anything like that. It's not. It's about, this is the issue in the industry, and the Building Safety Act highlighted this. The Dame, Hackett report highlighted that we need to design and then build. But people are a bit wary. It's new, it's treading water. And I think having those aspects, for example, like from Wilmot Dixon in there, where they showcased how doing it this way, yes, at first it may have teething problems and stuff like that, but they're seeing that able to give accurate budgets to their customers. They're coming in on budget, they're coming in on time, they're able to foresee things and not have costly endeavors. And they're not disappointing their customers where they're at the end of it going, yeah, we know we said it's X amount, but it's actually XY amount and stuff like that. And you're like, going back to the campaign before we move on, actually, is I suppose congratulations, because that campaign actually won an award this year as well. Which
It did.
yeah. So is there anything you could tell a little bit about that? Because I remember seeing both yours and Rebecca's faces actually when you were
Yeah.
called out. But it was good to see that our peers acknowledged the hard work on that campaign. So yeah, do you
Yeah,
want
for sure. I mean, we the award that was won was Campaign of the Year at the FSM Live Awards. So it was actually awards across both fire and security. So there were quite a few people up for that award as well.
So yeah, no, well done on that. I'm glad you got, again, like I said it before, I think because obviously you spend most time behind the cameras, it's quite hard that you not necessarily get the recognition of, say, the technical team that's always in front and center, etc., like that. And it is a big team effort. Everyone, even to be fair, the customer service people, the warehouse, etc., we are quite a close knit unit of a team. The more ideas and comments we get, or people that would like to come on and think maybe their voice needs to be shared, I think that's quite powerful that we're very open with that aspect. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for Quelfire, like we said earlier, that collaboration is key.
yeah,
So, and that's not just collaboration inside Quelfire, but collaboration with the entire industry.
yeah,
We do burning questions. We've done Meet the Contractor as well, where we've had outside voices coming in. So, if anyone that is watching does want to be a part of any future series, please do get in touch. We are always wanting to share knowledge, and we're really interested to see different perspectives in the industry. So please do come forward if you've got any ideas on any content that you want to collaborate with. Yeah, for sure. And like we said about London Build, and the stands that we have at these exhibitions, our two primary events are the fire safety event, which is in April, and London Build, which is in November. Our stand, is very much about inviting that conversation. So we've got the burn and non-burn examples. That is very much just to kind of actually show the power of the product, because installers see it installed like this but might not actually understand how it activates and works
yeah.
in a fire. So to actually show that, I think, is quite impactful.
Thank you. Obviously, I don't know when this episode is due to come out, so it might be actually quite close to fire safety.
Think it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
yeah.
think it is.
So actually, yeah, for anyone watching, please pop along to fire safety. That's in Birmingham, so that'd be good. Yeah, and going back to what you just said there with the products, I think that's been a good. It's the why and the how, which is why I've been really happy. Like, even with the knowledge hubs and stuff like that, is you've got a clear thing of, we need to expand on things, make sure people understand, because having that, I mean, one of the things I think, obviously people don't realize this, but one of the things we get, even the marketing team, everyone here, is to come see a fire test.
I mean, when I first started, I started in September 2024. And in the December, I actually went to my first fire test. And, obviously got to go to the testing facility, saw the wall as it was craned onto the furnace, all the little wires and everything put on. Hundreds of wires go onto that. It's honestly, it's so interesting to actually go and see it. But I think that was a 2-hour test that I went to see. But yeah, the biggest impact for me, having never really seen anything to do with fire or fire stopping before, was when that wall was then craned off. And you can see the front wall where you've got, the plaster, the bat, the surfaces going through. There's no flaming or anything like that. But when that wall was then craned off, to see that wall on the other side, pretty much as you kind of see it here. But then the other side, when it comes around and you feel the heat and you can see the plasterboard is coming off the wall, but that hole in the wall is plugged, that there's no fire going through that wall. It just shows the importance of what we do.
I'm glad you see it, and I'm glad actually the marketing aspect is hopefully trying as best as we can to send that message to the customers to show them that,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, you are installing something, but you're installing something for a purpose, or you are designing something, but you're designing something for a
Yeah.
purpose. But I suppose, is there any final messages or anything that you might want to?
I suppose for me, it's just kind of a message to the construction industry as a whole. I definitely think that there is a mindset shift that
Yeah,
needs to happen when it comes to marketing. In terms of product marketing, especially, it's not a product that you're selling, especially in fire space, fire safety. Ultimately, there is a person in that building, and the way that you market the products, it is really important, and you need to be thinking in every single piece that you create, every graphic, every bit of text, that someone is potentially going to be seeing that post that you're putting on, and is potentially going to buy your product. So yeah, just think about that person that is going to be living in that building at the end of the day.
that brings us to a close for this episode. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you sort of enjoyed it, having a little bit of a peek behind the curtain, because there is a lot of work that goes into just filming stuff like this, the articles, the website. And please feel free to get involved. Please share your feedback. It's the only way we grow. If you want to get involved, if you're interested in certain episodes, just, yeah, the more direction we can get, the better we can serve our customers and our indirect customers moving forward. So thank you very much, and look forward to the next episode.